A friend of mine used to work for a leading e-bike company, but got fired for talking to me on the phone during work hours. Before he left, he shared a little-known
right? Then I'm going to stop you right there. First off, if watching families being ripped apart does not appeal to your humanity, let me try and appeal to you financially, because these mass ICE deportations are bad for the economy. So while undocumented immigrants actually make up a really small portion of the overall workforce, they are overrepresented in jobs that you do not want. Things that have little benefits, long hours, backbreaking work with no pay. For example, about 42% of the agricultural workforce, 23% of the construction workforce are undocumented. And let's be real, these are self-reported numbers, so those are probably light. But the short of it all is that the food that you eat and the home that you live in was probably brought to you by someone who is an immigrant. The Made in America for Americans tagline, yeah, it's actually made by immigrants. Not only are these mass ICE deportations going to result in a tax revenue loss of over $1 trillion every single year, get ready to wait longer at your favorite neighborhood restaurant. You're going to see a shortage in Uber and Lyft drivers, delivery order people, and you are going to see prices for meat, seafood, dairy, and produce all go up at your grocery store.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours. Donald Trump! Fascism! Let our people free! ¡Suelta nuestra gente!
I got Mexican fatigue.
What's the windblower for?
Just for the fucking tear gas to blow it back at those motherfuckers. If you have fucking blower, bring it up! Push them back! We will not do 1992 again with your kids! I was 12 then! I'm 44 now! I will die for my fucking kids! And all of these young people are here are my fucking kids! Because I'm an LA native mom! These are my fucking children you're fighting! You! Major Bass! If you can hear me, expect me to your office on Monday for attacking my children!
If you could say something to Donald Trump right now, what would you say?
Donald Trump! You can suck my left nut, you can get out of my drawer! You're just Mecca Salma Hayek when he give you the time of day!
A female with nuts. I know. A lot of them do.
So we got some more devastating news for the Democrats. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You know, I thought a couple months ago that it could not get worse for the Democrats. I was like, how can it get worse for the Democrats? Like the Democrats cannot go any lower than they were just a few months ago. But lo and behold, they have, right? And it really is something that should be studied in political textbooks moving forward into the future, because we have some devastating polls that really push back against the narrative that Democrats are trying to put out there, which is that President Trump is the bad guy and that somehow, some way, his mass deportations, the ICE raids, this is going to hurt him when it comes to the midterms, right? In regards to how the American people feel about his presidency. We have this poll that just came out, a bombshell poll from Insider Advantage, which was highly accurate in 2024. It asks people, do they approve of Trump's National Guard deployment? And almost 60%, again, this is overwhelming, okay? Almost 60% say yes, okay? They approve of President Trump deploying the National Guard in order to help federal officers, federal law enforcement, conducting mass deportations out in Los Angeles during the riots. Okay, that's mainly what the National Guard is being used for, to protect ICE agents as they conduct the mass deportations. The American people say, yeah, at almost a 60% clip, they support this. Okay, which again is very devastating for Democrats. Also, more data points that what President Trump is doing is definitely not going to hurt him politically. And if anything, it probably is going to help him, even amongst immigrants, right? People that Democrats would make you think don't like mass deportations. It seems like, no, immigrants actually do like mass deportations. In fact, you have a lot of people who are here legally, legal immigrants, I mean, that are speaking out about all of the violence and chaos that is happening as a result of people being upset about the mass deportations against the illegal immigrants.
The DraftKings Casino app is the place for jackpots and across all my favorite games, not just slots. With all these ways to win big, I feel like one of those high rollers at a casino. Woo! I like my wins Texas-sized.
New players play $5 and get 350 casino spins instantly on a featured game. Plus, get a first day replay up to 1,000 in casino credits. The crown is yours.
Well, howdy, partner. Then don't do that. Don't.
Quick day today.
Yeah. I am a legal immigrant, and I want to tell you something. I'm disgusted by what people from other countries like Mexico are doing right now in my new country. I came from Mexico. I came legally. I have worked all my life here to get what I have. I have never asked for a penny to the government. I didn't come here to get something from the government. I came for an opportunity and I got it. And I have the American dream. What about all of those people protesting in California and New York? What are they doing? They are burning the city. If you don't like to be deported and you want to stay here, you have to have your best behavior. Not the worst behavior. You think that we want you here? With that behavior of burning cars, burning the entire city? Why? Why do we talk to the authorities in your behalf? There has no meaning on that. And for the people that are defending these violent attackers, people that don't deserve to be here, shame on you.
Unless you guys are living under a rock, you guys already know what's going on in LA with the ICE raids and everything else. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings out there, and trust me, this is from someone that came from an immigrant family, a Mexican immigrant family, right? So I feel I have a unique perspective because I worked at ICE detention facilities for over 8 years, because I was, law enforcement with the U.S. Marshals, so I got to see a little bit of what happened in the background. I had a lot of friends also that are ICE agents, right? That are ERO ICE agents, Enforcement Removal Operation ICE agents. What I can tell you is this: these agents are out there doing their job, okay? Whether you agree with it or not, whether you agree with the laws, with the immigration laws of this country or not, they're laws. These federal agents, these ICE agent, ERO, fucking HSI, Marshals, whoever, DEA, all the FBI, everyone's out there helping the Department of Homeland Security right now. These guys are doing their job, right? They're enforcing the laws.
But let me get this straight, just so I can clarify it. You don't want to go back to Mexico. You're protesting to stay away from Mexico. But you're waving the Mexican flag and you're waving it with pride. You're waving it in the United States, the country you're trying to stay in, the country you don't want to leave.
Right.
But yet you're waving the Mexican flag with pride. Okay. That seems normal to you? That seems logical? That's not stupid? No? None of that's stupid. All right, you guys are an embarrassment to the Mexican culture and to the United States culture. You guys are an embarrassment to everybody around you, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Do better.
Yeah, so this is why I'm not
around this bitch waving Mexican flags, but want to stay in America. What the fuck is going on? And then you got these, like I said, these liberal demis defending this fuck shit, yeah? What a circus show, y'all. What a circus show. Black folks stand down. It's not our fight. Not our fight at all.
I'm surprised when I see CNN report how among immigrant citizens, right, the GOP actually is doing better on the issue of immigration among immigrant citizens. This is why I'm not surprised to see this at all.
Immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically about Donald Trump?
Yeah, so you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters were one of his weakest spots. But look at this, Trump's vote share in presidential election among, again, immigrant citizens, those who are registered to vote. Look at this. 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this, in 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters, and Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal. So there may be all this stuff, right, about undocumented immigrants and Trump being harsh on them, but immigrant voters themselves have increasingly liked Donald Trump and have increasingly moved to the right on immigration and into the Republican camp.
Well, then on that, what you're getting at, how immigrant citizens, voters, feel about people in the country illegally.
Yeah, and this is where it all kind of comes together, Kate Baldwin. Look at this. The net favorable rating, immigrants who are here illegally, among immigrant citizens, again, those registered to vote. In 2020, look at this, plus 23 points on the net favorable rating. But look at where we were in 2024, minus 6 points, underwater. So immigrant citizens have become increasingly unfavorable in their views of those immigrants who are here illegally. So I think it's so important when we're talking about this debate from a political angle to separate those out who are undocumented immigrants versus those who are here legally and those who are citizens and those who are voters, because that group of voters has felt increasingly distant from those immigrants who are here legally. And so again, when we're talking about this, at least from a political angle, this is why Donald Trump feels so comfortable, because in fact, amongst the group that you would think that would be most opposed to this, in fact, they've become increasingly favorable, not just towards Donald Trump, but towards a Republican point of view on immigration and becoming distant from those immigrants who are here illegally.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised by it at all. And the reason why I'm not surprised by it is because it's just kind of common sense, right? If you're an immigrant and you're here in the country legally, especially if you become a citizen, you've went through the process, right? And if you went through the process, right, you put the blood, sweat, and tears into coming into the country legally, doing it the right way, which, you know, can take years at a time. You don't want people coming in behind you shortcutting the process, right? They just cross the border and they get to stay and they get all the benefits that you waited years to receive, right? Again, that is not something that people like. Of course they don't like that, right? I mean, if I was an immigrant citizen, I wouldn't like it, right? I would not like it at all. And what I think is so funny about this is that Democrats try really hard, right? They try really hard to basically conflate illegal immigration and legal immigration, right? In the sense that they just claim, no, the GOP, they're just anti-immigrant. They just hate all immigrants. And that's not necessarily the case, even though I do think that, you know, immigration in general, we should take a look at legal and illegal immigration in regards to the amount of people we're letting in the country, because we let so many people in the country over the past 4 years. But outside of that, you know, for the most part, the rhetoric from the GOP and Trump and Republicans is against illegal immigration, not legal immigration. Okay? So I think that's why it hasn't really worked, because I don't think that legal immigrants or immigrant citizens feel as if the GOP or President Trump is a threat to them, right? In fact, again, when you talk about not letting these illegals into the country, that benefits them, because that is less people that they have to compete with for jobs, right? Because these illegals that come into the country compete directly with the legal immigrants, the immigrant citizens who are already here for jobs and unemployment and opportunities, right? Again, a lot of these illegals are also living in the neighborhoods of these immigrant citizens, and these illegals are committing crimes, right? So they commit crimes. The people who are most affected by these crimes, again, are the so-called black and brown people in these neighborhoods, right, that these illegal immigrants live in. So I totally understand it. I totally get it. It is not a surprise to me, but I guess it is a surprise to people who think that you're supposed to have political beliefs based off your skin color, or in this case, your immigration status, right? That is what they believe, but they're mistaken, right? Democrats are very, very, very badly mistaken when it comes to how they think about voters and how they believe voters think about the issue. So with that being said, we got more bad news for Democrats, this time involving LaMonica McIver, a Democrat who decided to assault a federal officer, an ICE agent, outside of an ICE facility in Newark, New Jersey. I think everybody remembers this. This lunatic woman decided to put her hands on ICE, okay, because ICE was not allowing her to break into this facility. And then she is finding out that she is, in fact, not above the law. As U.S. Attorney Alina Habba says, today a federal grand jury seated in Newark, New Jersey, returned a 3-count indictment charging U.S. Representative LaMonica McIver with forcibly impeding and interfering with federal law enforcement officers. This indictment has a maximum penalty of 8 years for count 1, an additional maximum penalty of 8 years for count 2, and a maximum penalty of 1 year in prison for count 3. As I stated in the past, it is my constitutional obligation as the chief federal law enforcement officer for New Jersey to ensure that our federal partners are protected when executing their duties. While people are free to express their views for or against particular policies, they must not do so in a manner that endangers law enforcement and the communities those officers serve. Today's decision by the grand jury is the next step in a process that my office will pursue to a just end. Wow. So, hey, a grand jury thought there was enough evidence to indict this individual. Again, I mean, we all saw it on video. There's video evidence, and these people continue to run this narrative that somehow, some way, this didn't really happen, right? And this is made up, and that, they're just attacking her because she's a Democrat or something. So let's listen to what she had to say a few days ago on MSDNC about these charges.
Did you know that you can have permanent teeth in just 24 hours? That's right. Only 24 hours and your new smile is ready. And with affordable payment options, achieving your dream smile has never been easier. Forget waiting months with temporary teeth or those insanely uncomfortable dentures. Backed by over 20,000 5-star Google reviews and winners of the 2024 Dental Implant Restoration Company of the Year, Nuvia is helping people regain their smiles and change their lives. And the best part, it all happens in only 24 hours. Take the 60-second quiz now to find out if Nuvia dental implants are right for you.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar to drill deeper into our 9 to 13% annual interest.
So, Congresswoman, let's talk more about those charges. You've been charged with assaulting law enforcement officers while conducting that oversight that you just walked us through. Your response to those charges, and do you think the word assaulting is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and how easy it is for officials, the DOJ officials, to use that, particularly against you?
I mean, first of all, yes, I'm being charged with 2 counts of felony assault, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. But I just honestly think it's political intimidation. And as I always say, I'm just the next person on their list. We have been seeing since January 20th a list of, weaponizations from the Trump administration on different departments, and especially the DOJ, rather it's judges, political leaders that they're investigating. We constantly continue to see this behavior out of this administration, and I think it's definitely an overreach, and I'm looking forward to my day in court. I mean, I can't wait to get there, me and my attorneys, where facts are on my side and the facts are going to come out, and I look forward to that day. It's going to be bigger than any Fox headline, that's out there that they continue to put out there, and so really looking forward to court.
Yeah, the facts, she says, right? I mean, the facts are that we have video evidence, okay, of what happened. We all saw it, right? I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, man. Like, it's on camera. Right here, let me show you guys. Boom, right there. Let's play it again. Boom, right there. Okay? This is her raising her fist, okay? Assaulting an officer. That's what she did. That's what she did. It's on camera right there. But for whatever reason, this is made up. They're only doing this because I'm a Democrat. It's political. Which, by the way, you remember how they told us that a grand jury indictment means that it's not political, right? You remember how they told us with Trump's charges, right? They said, well, a grand jury indicted him, so therefore it can't be political. Funny how that logic doesn't apply anymore in this situation, right? They've thrown that out the window, okay? That, hey, at this point, it has to be political, even though, again, we have video evidence in regards to what happened. So, hey, we'll see. She is going to get her day in court. And I'm hoping that she's found guilty. I think that she is guilty. But I think more so than anything, she should be expelled from Congress. The fact that she's still in Congress is a disgrace, considering the fact that I believe that she is responsible for inspiring some of these riots and the domestic terrorism that we're seeing in this country, which is why it is so important to hold these Democrats accountable, because stuff like this is, again, inspiring people to commit acts of violence against federal law enforcement, and we can't have that. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Why refinance distress?
And they say ain't no fires and looting going on.
They can reduce your payment. You can get your life.
That's right. We're getting some new numbers in from the LAPD on how many people were arrested, dozens taken into custody overnight. And let me show you the scene here. We're right next to Olvera Street across from Union Station. What you're looking at were believed to be Jaguars, Waymos, the driverless cars, 5 of them burnt to the ground. Now, what we've learned is that they were called here to the area of the protest, all 5 of them, on Los Angeles Street between Arcadia and Alameda around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And that's when a group apparently waiting for those cars, well, attacked them, slashing tires, smashing the windows, tagging them with graffiti, and then deciding to set them on fire. LA City firefighters letting the cars burn themselves out because of the release of toxic gases from the vehicle's lithium-ion batteries. And as Bob mentioned, this all started in Paramount on Saturday. That's when ICE agents moved in right next to a Home Depot. Now, originally it was reported that they were there to take the day laborers that they believed were undocumented into custody, but it turns out they may have been targeting a meatpacking plant that was right next to the Home Depot. Regardless of what the target was, that brought in dozens, then hundreds of protesters to the area where they faced off with ICE agents. And it is that action that is said to have spurred the White House to call in the National Guard. Yesterday, take a look, the protest focused on downtown Los Angeles, primarily the federal building and the federal holding prison where they are reportedly holding the people that they took into custody, those ICE agents. Things getting very, very tense. And this morning we're learning from the LAPD that a total of 42 people were arrested. 27 of them were taken into custody simply for failing to disperse when ordered. 10 were arrested for assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer, including one suspect who police say crashed his motorcycle into a police officer. 3 were then arrested for looting, 2 for arson, and 1 for attempted murder involving a Molotov cocktail. Now, coming up later on Good Day LA, we're going to show you more of the damage because many businesses have also been looted, and the businesses that weren't looted or had their glass windows broken out have been tagged. There is graffiti all over it. We can't show it to you. Words not suitable for television this morning. If you can avoid downtown Los Angeles today, you'd probably be better off doing so. There are more protests planned for later this morning and into the night. Reporting live, I'm Gigi Graciette. Back to you.
All right, Gigi.
But if you listen to the Democrats, they not looting, they not doing no riots, they not burning cars and none of that. They friendly protesting. If you listen to the Democrats, the left, the lunatic left. Same shit that been going on in 2020 is history repeating itself, ladies and gentlemen. History repeating itself with these Democrats. And like I said, it shouldn't be not near one black folk out there in that march with these Mexicanos. They don't give a damn about you. They here to replace you. And if you just want to go out there and loot and rob and your ass get caught, you deserve everything, every charge you get when you get caught. Blending in with these Mexicanos, looting shit, robbing, burning shit up. You deserve everything you get. If you black and you out there in this fucking march, it shouldn't be not near one black person in this march. You understand me, peoples? Facts. This not our fight, y'all. It's not our fight. For all I'm concerned, these motherfuckers killed Malcolm X's grandson in Mexico. Fuck that. And when you get locked up, the Mexicanos always rally with the Aryan Nation brothers to go against black folks in prison. So if any black folks out there in this march We know you the enemy now, goddammit. And you ain't to be trusted. And that's a 100% fact. This is not our fight. This their fight. Goddammit. And not only that, the ones that's here legally, we welcome y'all. We welcome y'all with open arms. But for those here illegally causing mayhem and mass destruction, man, fuck them motherfuckers, man. Deport every last one of them. Kids, grandparents, deport every last one of them. They don't deserve to be here. And whoever defending this shit like the Maxine Waters, the Hakeem Jeffers and all them house niggas, Cory Bookers and all them old house niggas, they are the problem, ladies and gentlemen, in the African-American community. We know who the problem is on the Democrat side. You understand me, peoples? We most definitely know that. The Cory Bookers, the Maxine Waters, the Clyde Burns, and all them niggas. They a traitor to their race, and they ain't to be trusted, ladies and gentlemen. Treason on their own peoples. Fuck them, along with the Mexicanos. And I got a video that I'm dropping right after this video of Malcolm X's grandson, where he was into. Fuck his past. We all have a past when we coming up in life. God damn it. Y'all quick to point out the negativity of a person's life in the past compared to what they doing now. Fuck out of here. Migrants got to go, and these niggas that supporting these migrants got to go. The Maxine Waters and Jasmine Crockett's and Cory Bookers, Hakeem Jeffers, the Clyde Burns, and the list goes on of these house niggas that's in there. We know who y'all are. The gig is up, goddammit. The gig is up like a motherfucker. Maxine Waters causing mass confusion once again. Defending illegal migrants, but can't even go visit Mumi Abu Jamal. You understand me? And the list goes on. Fuck out of here with that shit, Maxine. That's why they kicked you out the building. Get the hell out of here with your old ass. Go sit down. Help your own peoples. God damn it. You've been in the motherfucking house all these goddamn years. Now you decide to fight, and it's for illegal migrants. Listen to her, y'all. She a disgrace to her race, man. And all of
When you imagine day-to-day life,
every last
prison,
one of them are that's out here protecting illegal migrants.
But at the Federal Bureau of Prison,
the governor was not contacted. This is Trump and his outrageous attempt to not only target our sanctuary city, but to frighten us and intimidate us. This is wrong, and I hope.
Intimidate us. So she admitted she is an illegal migrant. And she's defending illegal migrants all the way to the end, ladies and gentlemen. All the way to the end. Listen to her, y'all. But yet, can't even get in her own community and help her own peoples. The American peoples that voted her in this position. She out that motherfucker capping for these illegal migrants. They got a plan, y'all. Their plan backfired, and they've been exposed, ladies and gentlemen. It shouldn't be not near one black person out there in these motherfucking marches, man. And bullshit ass rallies that they gonna keep baiting you with, gaslighting you with, telling you this what your ancestors went through. The Martin Luther Kings, and man, fuck all that. That shit ain't work for us, and let them find out the hard way, goddammit. It ain't gonna work for them either, goddammit. And that's the bottom line of that.
That none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody. There's no reason to shoot anybody. Don't allow them to make your service in a service where you're killing people. Don't do it. Defy them. Don't shoot those guns for anything. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, right. For illegal migrants. Same shit they was doing with George. These paid actors, y'all. Sponsored by George Soros, y'all. The gig is up. Dixiecrats, Democrats. It's up. The gig is up. Y'all funded by the Soros. That's causing all this mass confusion and destruction in the streets. Once again, just like in George Floyd 2020 riot. What y'all gonna do? Have them go out there, protest, burn, loot, all types of shit. All types of shit. And then eventually they gonna do that for 4 years, y'all. As long as Trump in the White House, this is what they plan on doing, y'all. They out of school. They ain't got nothing else going on. You understand me? So what is it to do? To go out there and cause mass confusion and destruction on America. Supported by the Democrats. That's treason. That is treason, ladies and gentlemen. And with the Soros, that's motherfucking the RICO Act. He can be brought up on charges of the RICO Act. Because if he funding all this foolishness that's going on in the streets, goddammit, you are the problem, Soros. I don't understand why they don't go after these motherfuckers, man. You understand me? If it's real, true American patriot, go. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. If you wrong, goddammit, and you should be brought to justice. Goddammit, true justice. This is what we talking about. True American justice that been rigged for the last centuries. Goddammit. It's for motherfucking another race of people to bring true justice to America. Because we know the justice system in America is biased and that shit is rigged. You understand me? When you go into the courthouse in America justice, the scale is already against you. The scale is supposed to be even. Now we get to the 42 laws of Mayat, of the balance of the scale, right? And we all know America is a bias in certain cases and predicaments. Very biased. And we need true leadership and true justice brought to America. The Soros, all those motherfuckers should be held accountable of their actions. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. God damn it. Because when it's time to answer to the Most High, God damn it, that money don't mean nothing. That money don't mean a goddamn thing. And that's a 100% fact, not fiction. 100% fact, not fiction. But you got these demons, which I call the Democrat Party, that's supporting this foolishness, that's being funded by the Soros, that's being 100% funded by the Soros. And that's a fact, not fiction. 100% fact, not fiction. So black folk, this is not our fight, black folk. Not at all. accident right there. Seen the back of the car pushed all the way in. I'm like, what the hell going on? Sometimes you can't see out of these little streets when you coming out. You can't see. But I got a video I'm about to drop that's right here, Malcolm X's grandson. Speech.
Turn a new leaf and follow in his father's footsteps and to convert to Islam. In 2010, he made the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. Things were finally starting to look up for Malcolm. Malcolm would become an activist. He went to Mexico City with labor activist Miguel Suarez, who led a tour to demand for better wages and more rights for Mexican construction workers living in the U.S. Suarez and Shabazz were lured to a bar on Friday, May 9th, 2013, in the tourist part of Mexico City known as Garibaldi Plaza. During the night, the bar's owner sent two waiters, Manuel Alejandro Perez and David Hernandez Cruz, and demanded Shabazz pay the $1,200 tab. Many of the bars in this area of Mexico City are notorious for overcharging and scamming foreigners, especially black foreigners. Shabazz refused to pay, and the two owners took Shabazz out behind the bar, robbed and beat him with a metal rod, and abandoned him on a nearby street. Malcolm was taken to the hospital for his injuries, where he died shortly after due to blunt force trauma. Weeks later, the two waiters were arrested by Mexican authorities for the murder, and in 2015 were both sentenced to 27 years in prison. In 2014, another waiter was arrested while in hiding. At the time of his death at just 28 years old, it seemed that Shabazz had been turning his life around. He had avoided any legal trouble for over 7 years and had embraced his lineage to Malcolm X and wanted to follow in his footsteps as an activist. He had plans to construct several mosques and schools throughout America, as well as set up programs to help the youth stay away from drugs and gangs. We will never truly know what he could have been if he was still alive today. The media was still fixated on the fire in 1997. Many of the articles written about him mostly talked about what he did at 13 years old. His body was flown back to New York, where he is buried now at Ferncliff Cemetery, near his grandparents Malcolm X, Betty Shabazz.
Some goals you hope to accomplish in the black community?
What I really stress is the importance of education and unity, and one of my goals is to raise awareness and promote unity amongst people in the black community. Those of us who share similar aims and objectives and goals and so forth, just like they have the European Union, where you have nations that don't necessarily get along with each other, like each other, might display some open hostility towards one another. At least they have enough common sense to come together for a common cause and achieve a common goal. So this is something that's important. It's something that I'm working on within the black community.
All right, thanks. How many other places have you been spreading the knowledge of black struggle, and do you think it's a success?
I've been, all over the world, alhamdulillah, all over the Middle East, Lebanon, Jordan, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. I studied in Syria for about a year. We've been to Libya along with Cynthia McKinney, who was a former presidential candidate and former congresswoman of Georgia. We all went on a delegation to Libya in support of the African Union. And to promote positive relationships between the Arabs and the Africans. We've been all over the United States, from Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, Chicago. Sat down with the grandson of Imam Chief Malik, formerly known as Jeff Fort, who started the Black Peace Stones. We have a line with Little Larry Hoover of the Gangster Disciples. We sat down with some of the top generals of the Vice Lords, and T. Rogers of Black Peace Stone Jungle, who was also a very good friend of mine. So this is all around promoting unity. Some of the places we've been, a lot of universities like Temple University, Tennessee State University, Medgar Evers, where my grandmother was at college, University of DePaul, Berkeley University, Temple, all over, different universities, different alternative high schools, juvenile detention centers, and community-based events like here tonight at this event that has been thrown by the Black Star Action Network.
You think the message that was said here was spread to Tampa Bay, University locals and youth alike?
Yes, I definitely do. Because, a lot of times people that ask me, they say, well, how can you relate to the youth? Or, when you speak to them, how do they respond? And I think that they respond well, because many times they'll notice that I can actually relate to them. I went through similar experiences. Like, I don't have all the answers, but, my hardships and my experiences, that's what I have to offer. So I've been through the juvenile detention system. I went through residential treatment centers. I was in prison. So a lot of the hardships that I've experienced, I would want to be able to give back to those who are dealing with similar issues or going through similar experiences, as well as those who might be headed down a similar path. And then, like when we touch down here or we touch down in other places, we're not just coming to talk, we coming to network, and plant them seeds. So now that on behalf of Jamu Bendelli and the Black Star Action Network bringing us down here, that connection has been made. And when we're gone, it doesn't stop. We have the connection with the brother, we have the connection with the organization, and they're still going to be here, and we're still going to be in touch with them. So, and the brothers, are very sincere, and they come from a similar background. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to keep it going, and we're all going to keep it going.
Thanks. What are you? Chief Minister Brother Malcolm Shabazz is the grandson of Malcolm X. Brother, welcome to Raleigh, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your understanding with us, brother. Hopefully, local people can implement what you were talking about. I want to ask you, brother, about the legacy of the struggle. I know you got to run, you can get long, informative lecture, but I want to ask you about the legacy of the struggle, what's going on in the world right now, especially about young people. How you see that struggle and that legacy manifested through what you do?
Just to reiterate what I said earlier in the Holy Quran, Surah 20, Ayah 50, it states that our Lord is He who gave all things its creation, and then He Himself guided it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reveals to us in the Holy Quran that man is made in toil and struggle to struggle. So we should never really regret or curse any particular situation or circumstance, but to realize that there are certain obstacles that are placed within our path that should only serve to make us stronger. Just as coal under extreme pressure makes a transformation in a diamond, or as others would say, no pain, then no gain. Sorry about that. Yeah.
All right. Brother, so what words of wisdom would you leave with the brothers and sisters in this area? How we can continue the legacy of the movement? What should we be doing, or what should people who are watching this video, who are sitting around watching, going, well, I wish I could do something, I wish we could be doing something, what should they be doing?
Something. Anything. Yeah, just contribute to the cause in any, shape, form, or fashion. Whatever you see, you know what issues we're facing. You know what's going on in our communities. And one of the things that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said is that, to see an injustice, the weakest form is just to feel it in your heart. The second form is to say something. And the strongest form is to act upon it. Just to do something, do anything. Just don't sit by idly and just watch things go down. There's an injustice, then you need to at least speak on it. If not, act on it. But at least act on it. If not, just at least speak on it, So this is what can be done.
That's what's up. TruthMilitant.com. Here with Brother Malcolm Shabazz. Thank you, brother.